Hi friends, welcome to Cutesy Crafts. Today I want to show you how to make these adorable chair booties by crocheting. It's really easy. I'm going to show you what I used. I used some chunky yarn just because I wanted something that's going to be more sturdy because it's going to be on the floor. This is a bulky 5 and the hook that I used is a size, right here it says K or 10. You see that there? You can use other sizes of yarn and if you want. And I also like to use a dark color because it's going to be getting dirty on the floor and my chair legs are a dark brown. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your yarn. Now, you're also going to need one of these, they call them embroidery needles, darning needles, yarn needles, all those different names, so you can find them at any craft store. Make sure it has a nice big eye on it so you can fit your yarn through it. You're going to need that after you're done crocheting. And of course, some scissors. You're going to figure out how wide your chair leg is. So measure it around or just start chaining and see how wide you need it to be. So start with your slip knot. And I measured mine and I needed to do 14, so chain 14. And I'm going to single crochet. So skip that first one and then when I single crochet, you can either go, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop before I say that. I'll tell you that later. And something that I've learned with crocheting is to let it do its thing. Trying to make it too tight or trying to control it too much, control the yarn too much, it makes it end up looking just not even. So just let the yarn do its thing. Then when you get to the end, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. This is what I was going to say earlier, is that when you single crochet, you can go under those two. That's the correct way, I guess, or the standard way to learn, or you can go through the top one. I like to do this sometimes because it gives it a ribbed look to it, so I'm going to do that for these little chair leg booties. And we're just going to keep going until it's as tall as you want it to be. Okay, I'm going to show you here. This is what it ended up looking like. But I'm going to keep going. It's not going to be that tall, so I'm going to keep going because I want to show you how I put it all together. Because we're just doing rows here. this is a great project to do if you want to keep your tile or hardwood floors from getting scratched, or you just can't stand, and chain one, you just can't stand the sound that it makes whenever your chairs are screeching against the floor. I know that's one of my reasons to make these. When I was teaching, one of the things that we did with the chairs is we would put tennis balls on the bottom of them. So this is a cuter and more attractive way to keep those chairs from making that screeching noise against the floor. You can make these booty socks as tall as you want. They can go up the whole length of the chair leg if you want. I kind of just want them to be serving their purpose to where they're going to stay up and they're going to protect the bottom, make them easy to slide around, make the chair easy to slide around. So I'm not going to make them tall, but you can if you want. Chain one, turn. This is a great beginner project too because it only requires the basic stitches. So if you've never crocheted before, this is a great first time thing to do, and you're making something that's gonna serve a purpose and last for a while or for a long time. So I'm gonna go a little bit, I'm gonna go a couple rows because I want these to look uniform. Although some of the first ones I did were not, but that's how you learn. And that's just the fun part of it, the experience of learning something new, finding what works and what doesn't. And crochet, it's a very forgiving process because if anything, you don't like the look of it, just rip it out and start over. I'm going to do one more row. Okay, now that I've got, this is how tall I want my chair booty socks to be. So you want to pull out so you have a nice piece of yarn because we're going to be whip stitching, putting the seams together. So make sure you have plenty of yarn to work with. It's better to have a little bit more than not enough. Cut that, pull through so that's secure there, and you're going to whip stitch. It's basically, you're just sewing the ends together. So you're going to get your embroidery darning yarn needle, thread it through, And when I bought my embroidery needles, they came in a pack. So this, I believe, yeah, this is the biggest, the one with the biggest eye on it. So it's nice to have that variety depending on how thick, I'm sorry, your yarn is. I didn't mean to go all the way there. So it's like you're sewing, but you're using yarn. Make sure they're even, the ends, and this is not a hard and fast thing, but just getting the ends and making sure it's nice and tight. Pulling it tight. And if you wanted to, you could crochet around the edge too. I've done that with other projects and it makes a nice edge to it. But it kind of depends on what you're doing. Like with these, I wanted it to be an invisible seam. I don't want it to be, I want it to look like, you know, not showing, I don't want to show where the seam is or where it ends. So that's why I like to whip stitch. Plus, whip stitching is easier and I like easy. Don't make it more complicated if you don't have to. So I'm coming down to the end, make sure I get that last in the corner. I'm going to keep going because I want to get the bottom of my booties. And last one. So now I check my seam, see how it's nice and tight. Make sure there's no gaps or holes there. It's nice and tight. All right, and then I'm just gonna come back a little bit so that kind of some extra security because this is gonna be the bottom of the booty. And I like to join it with the other tail that was there. That's why I kind of left it there even though it was in my way a little bit. And then I like to tie these together a couple times. Or 3. And then cut that end, but don't cut the knot. Turn it inside out. And ta-da! Here's your chair booties. They're gonna keep your floors protected. So super easy. The only thing is, depending on how many chairs you have, you might have to make a bunch, but they're really quick to do. Hope you enjoyed this video, so like or subscribe if you wish. See you next time.